All right, so this is 6-3, arc length and sector area. We can also make measurements of area and length inside of circles, and we're going to do that by basing our ideas off of formulas for the area of a whole circle and also the circumference of a whole circle. So that's where we're going today, and our goal is to find areas of shapes that look like this. They're called sectors, so like pizza slices or pieces of pie, if you want to think about that. And arc length is it's like arc measure, right? Except for instead now we're actually doing length, like how far would it be to walk this arc. So first, the area of a circle formula, hopefully you've seen this before in your life, is A equals pi r squared. So we take pi, which is, in calculators you can find a button that says pi, so you can use that, or you can use approximations, either way. And then you take the radius and you square the radius, and that gives you the area. And the radius is the length from the center of the circle out to the edge. To find sector area, we just find a portion of this full circle's area. So this is what goes here, a portion of the area of a circle. So remember that a whole circle is 360 degrees. So if we're finding only part of a circle's area, we just need a fraction that has the degree measurement of the central angle there. So what we do is we find a fraction, what portion, that's what goes here, like this is what portion of the circle, what portion of the circle we're looking for, and this is just the area formula. So you just multiply that fraction that you've created with the area of the whole circle, and then you get just that portion. So let's practice this really quickly. We have a degree measure of 80 degrees. So what we're doing is we're finding 80 degrees out of 360 of this whole circle, right? So that's our fraction. We do 80 out of 360 of the area of the full circle, which is just pi times the radius, which is 4 squared. So the orange is just the radius, or just the area of the whole circle, and 80 over 360 is what portion of that circle we're looking for. And you can just literally type that whole thing into a calculator, and it will spit out the sector area for just this portion, this 80-degree portion of the circle. 80 over 360, if you need a couple of inside steps here, is 20.22 times, and then the area of the whole circle is 50.24. So that gives us an area of 11.16 centimeters squared. Again, you can just type this into a calculator and it will spit out 11.16, hopefully. Again, look for that button that says pi on it to use for this. Approximations for pi don't do as well as that button, so it's better to use that. You'll get more accurate answers. So that portion of the circle is 11.16 centimeters squared. This one, we actually don't have the central angle. This is the one that we need. So we would first need to find this angle by subtracting 209 from 360 so that we can get what's left there, which gives us 151. And then we have the radius, so we have everything else that we need. So what we're finding is 151 out of 360 worth of this circle. And the full circle is pi times 6.5 squared. And then if you type that into a calculator, you will get 55.65. And this is feet, so we'll use feet squared. 55.65 feet squared. Perfect. Here's an interesting one. So the 15 miles is the distance all the way across the circle. So that is not a radius. We need to find the radius by dividing that in half because that's a diameter. So that's 7.5 miles instead. And then we also need this angle instead of the 30 degrees. So again, we're going to take away from 360 that 30 degrees to find what's left, which is 330 degrees. And then our fraction looks like 330 out of 360, which is most of the circle, times the area, which is pi times 7.5 squared. And if you plug that into a calculator, it will give you 14.72 miles squared. 14.72 miles squared. That little symbol, by the way, is a sector symbol, so it's just talking about those shaded sectors, the area of that sector. Okay, so that's the sector area, not too bad. We're just finding a portion of the circle's area. So the portion is that fraction out of 360, so it's just the angle out of 360. And then this orange part is just the area of the whole circle, so pi r squared. Not too bad to remember. So now let's do the same thing but with circumference. So the circumference of the circle, this formula, is 2 times pi times r. And I know that requires all of the same symbols as this area of a circle, but this is different, right? 2 times pi times the radius is different than pi times the radius again. So that gives you just the circumference of the whole circle. And we're going to use the same logic that we used on the last page to find a portion of that circumference. Same idea here. We still have this circumference part. Ooh, that's not what I want. Highlighter. There we go. We still have that circumference formula right there, but now we have, and we have the same portion idea here. So we just use the angle measure in that sector, the central angle measure here, to find the distance from here to here along that arced path. This is our what portion section of our formula. So this one here, we have the sector, and I know this is kind of hard to tell on here, but we're looking for this sector. I keep saying that because we were just talking about sectors. That is an arc, and so is this, and so is this. Looking for those arcs. This first one, the portion that we're finding is 208 out of 360. And then the arc, the circumference of the whole circle would be pi, I'll write in the right order. 2 times pi times 3, because 3 is the radius. And if you type that into a calculator, it will give you, hopefully, 10.89 inches. And this is not inches squared because it's just the length, it's just a distance. So 10.89 inches. Next we have 39 degree portion of a circle, so 39 out of 360, times the circumference formula, which is 2 times pi times 10. And that will give you, but 10 I think is the diameter. So we don't want 10, we actually want 5, because 5 is that radius. So we use 5. And if you type that in, it will give you 6.803 centimeters. 6.80 centimeters. One more here. So this one, there's something like this on your math space. And when they give you the circumference here, it's actually doing half the problem for you. The circumference of the whole circle is part of the formula, and it's the green part. So they already did the math for the circumference. It's 234. All we need to do is find the portion, multiply it by the portion part of the formula. So this whole green part that we usually have to do like 2 times pi times something, the radius, we don't have to do that because they already found us the circumference. And there's a problem like that on MathBase, so don't let that trip you up. 234 is just the whole circumference, so you just do the fraction of that circumference. And this should give you 94.58 degrees in a calculator. 94.58 degrees. Why am I using degrees? I don't know. Hello. I've recorded too many lessons today. Too many. This is meters because we already found meters, and this is meters. There we go. Yeah, so that is, we're just finding a portion of the circumference and a portion of the area to find sector, area, and arc length.